No, you're not hallucinating. I am actually wearing a tent. Yes, this is not how this hike was supposed to start, but such is any adventure. We're about to embark on an adventure covering landscapes, wild animals, food, and of course, hiking a volcano or two. I'm your travel host, Alice Ford. Make sure to like this video as it really helps support my channel. You're not going to want to miss this South American series. One of Ecuador's most iconic landmarks is the volcano Cotopaxi. And if you've been following my channel for a while, then you know exactly what this means. This is the Avenue of the Volcanoes, and right now I'm in Cotopaxi National Park. This is the second most popular place to visit in all of Ecuador. And I'm here to hike up there. Cotopaxi is not only the most active volcano here in Ecuador, it's the second tallest mountain at more than 19,000 feet. Before attempting to summit Cotopaxi, I spent a few days in the highlands area near the national park, hiking other mountains to get acclimated to the high elevation and preparing my body and mind for a long and steep hike in the snow. Today is my first acclimatization hike for Cotopaxi, which is hidden in the clouds back there, but where I'm hiking is right back here. I'm going to be hiking up to Rumiñahui. This is over 15,500 feet, so taller than any of the mountains in the lower 48 states. Just getting started, about 40 minutes in, so quite a ways to go up to the top. Rumiñahui is also located inside Cotopaxi National Park. Beautiful in any season, I was hiking during somewhat of the rainy season in Ecuador. But despite the wet weather, I loved the rolling fog and mist that blanketed the purple flowers and thick grasses of the Andes. This area is part of the notorious Ring of Fire. And here in Ecuador, it's called the Avenue of the Volcanoes, which contains more than 70 volcanoes and mountains, a real hiker's paradise. Like many days in the mountains, the weather on this mountain changed drastically as I reached the summit of Rumiñahui at 15,489 feet. We made it to the top of Rumiñahui just in time for a sleet storm. The mountain is being covered right now in fog. We're gonna get out of here. The next day I rose early again to hike another nearby mountain named Iliniza North. The road to get there was a bit more of an adventure, and so was the hike itself. The Ilinizas are two divided summits of the same volcano, and I would actually be hiking the north side at over 5,100 meters. It was another rainy and fog-filled day, and this hike had a lot more exposure, snow, and ice than the day before. After Iliniza, I felt pretty prepared for Cotopaxi. My only real concern was the weather, which had so far not been in my favor. Like many mountains, Cotopaxi often creates its own climate and is very often covered in clouds. But when I woke in the morning, I was pretty excited to peel back the curtain and see the summit in almost full view. The volcano is located within the duly named Cotopaxi National Park, which is a sprawling ecological reserve spanning more than 120 square miles, full of wildlife and sweeping panoramas, full of a variety of plant life, from grasslands to moorlands and tundra. Cotopaxi is one of the highest active volcanoes in the entire world, and the second highest in Ecuador, at 5,897 meters above the sea. Its snowy cone is one of the most beautiful in the world, and the locals say its name means moon neck, or neck of the moon. No, you're not hallucinating. I am actually wearing a tent. Yes, this hike was supposed to start, but such as any adventure, never starts as planned. Today we're starting our hike up to Cotopaxi. We're just going a little bit up this hill to the refuge where we're going to be spending the night, or half a night I should say, eating some dinner and then donning some not normal day hiking gear to head up to the top of Cotopaxi. Now, this hike is actually pretty short, but the altitude is definitely not. This mountain, which is actually an active volcano, is just a few feet higher than Kilimanjaro. The hard part's over. Ah. Welcome to base camp. We're at just under 16,000 feet, about 4,800 meters, and this is where I'll be spending the night. We have made it to the refuge, only 1 hour of trekking, so that was nice. This is my guide for the climb, Fabian. We are just enjoying some hot chocolate and some tea. Now, most people that come up here to the refuge are just on a day hike. They are coming up here to just see Cotopaxi. It's actually the second most popular tourist destination in all of Ecuador to come here. And can you guess what number 1 is? The Galapagos. We'll be going there too. But for now, we're just gonna get refueled, rehydrated. We've got a long summit that starts at midnight tonight. There are 75 beds here, and most people hiking up to Cotopaxi spend the night here. This is where we're staying the night. A few tips for acclimating to high altitude, and if you've watched some of my Colorado content, you already know this, but get plenty of rest, which on a night like this is easier said than done. Eat and hydrate as much as possible. Avoid alcohol for a few days prior, and take time to acclimate at 10,000 feet for at least a few days before hiking any other big mountains. Big summits aren't a race of speed, but more a practice in patience. It's 11:45, just having a coffee. We're about to hit the trail. It's currently raining, so it's gonna be a wet start to the hike today. The name Cotopaxi is Quechua for neck of the moon. And to most tourists, Cotopaxi and her siblings Chimborazo, Quilatoa, and some of the others are just photographic destinations. But to the Quechua people that call this area home, these geothermal phenomenon are more than just surrounding landmarks. They are powerful entities that have impacted daily life for generations, with an unpredictable volatility that holds millions of lives in their hands. Now, centuries ago, Andean locals worshipped Cotopaxi as a rain sender and a heavenly body that ensured the land's fertility. They also deified her as a sacred mountain, holding firm to the belief that gods dwelled within her summit. I wish I had more to show you from this hike to the top of Cotopaxi. Because we left at 11:30 at night and didn't reach the summit until around 8 a.m., most of this hike was in complete darkness. Yes, we had headlamps, but it makes filming something like this pretty difficult with almost zero light. Right now, we're at 5,200 meters, and we're just putting our crampons on and some ropes to continue up a little bit farther. So far, not too bad, feeling pretty good still, so excited for the next little bit. The weather was so bad on our attempt up to the summit that there's just absolutely no contrast. It seemed like we were hiking through a black and white movie for much of this journey, and as we got nearer to the top where the snow was really thick and the glaciers and crevasses were pretty common, it was so hard to make out really anything in the night. Here we are.
The last meters
almost to the top. but it's kicking my ass. It's so hard. I can see the top, but whew.
The top is behind that. It's 10 meters left. Let's go, huh?
I can do that.
Yeah, you can do it. Let's go. Slowly and steady, okay? Slowly and steady. Don't run. No run. No run. Come on, you can do it.
I'm so lightheaded.
Cotopaxi in Ecuador. Alice is there. He's fighting with all her power, all her energy, and we're gonna get the top in 1 minute or something like that.
Why do we do hard things? Like really hard things? Like for instance, climbing a mountain almost 6,000 meters high in freezing rain and darkness, where the air is so thin your body gets barely enough oxygen, and it makes every move uphill feel like walking through quicksand.
There's the summit. Here's the summit.
On days like today, there's no view, no contrast at all. Nothing to even let you know that you're anywhere at all. But despite the fog and the darkness and the difficulty, it's these hard things that seem to be what makes me feel most alive.